Welcome, Brad. First of all, congratulations on the book. We'll come back to that. But first, let's talk about this Facebook decision. What did this panel decide and what didn't it decide?
Well, I mean, they decided that Donald Trump should continue to not be on Facebook, at least for the next 6 months. But, David, I think the best way to think about this decision is as a hot potato. Nobody wants to hold it. Mark Zuckerberg created this independent review board. He kind of calls it a Supreme Court to review big content decisions. And when Facebook suspended President Trump in January after the insurrection on Capitol Hill, they kicked that decision to the review board. The review board said that Facebook made the right decision, but then found some flaws. It said that an indefinite suspension was inappropriate, and the kind of vague penalty was inconsistent with Facebook's principles. So the hot potato now goes back to Facebook, and they have to figure out in 6 months, does Donald Trump stay off the platform, or is he able to rejoin?
Yeah, and President Trump couldn't put his response on Facebook, but he did have a response in which he said it's a total disgrace and embarrassment. He's trying to destroy and decimate our electoral process. That's a practical matter. If they did adopt standards, who would enforce them?
Right. And the question of standards is a good one, because I think in the past, Mark Zuckerberg has basically said, political leaders are important, their views need to be heard, and they should be treated by and large like any other user, if not, their words being seen as sort of more important, right, to propagate. And what the advisory board, the independent board, is saying here is that no, you need special standards for political leaders, particularly if they're inciting violence and could lead to personal harm. And so it's kicked it back to Facebook and basically said you have to go develop those new standards. If Facebook does develop them, if they hold political leaders like Trump to a higher standard, then it'll be up to Facebook itself to enforce those.
So, Brad, we have to get your book here. I've gotten to read the piece on the Bloomberg, which is excerpted from the book, as I understand it, and it's about Jeff Bezos, and part of it, at least, is about Jeff Bezos squaring off with the National Enquirer, which you normally don't want to do. But would you say in the end that Jeff Bezos won?
Yeah, absolutely. And David, just for a little bit of context, I was working on this book for about a year when this tabloid story hit. So as you can imagine, it was a little bit of a right turn. But the way in which he implied some political motives, really covered it in a fog of ambiguity, implied a connection to the government to Saudi Arabia. I mean, my reading of it and the deep reporting on it was that it really wasn't that. It was, the case of a family member selling the information to the Enquirer. But in the public imagination, at least, Bezos did come out ahead, and he's well beyond it now. He's retiring from Amazon and preparing to move on to this larger world.